Hello! Welcome to Two and a Half Brains, this week's weekly Survivor recap of episode 7 of Edge of Extinction, season 38. We're here to break it all down. Before you start, be sure to subscribe to our vlog so you get the weekly updates every single week. Email us, paperproductions@gmail.com. Tweet me at YoGrabbaGabba. Like us on Facebook at Paper Productions, and so let's go ahead and dive in here. It's gonna be a great week. A lot to talk about. So much happened this week. A jam-packed hour of the show. Before I get started, let's go and bring in the lovely co-host who keeps us on track. And you know they say behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes, and that I'm not a great man, but she's always rolling her eyes. So let's bring her in. Wow, let there be light. Come on in, Jessica. Hi.
Hello.
Cranking the show.
Yes.
You're a real. You're a real Liam Gallagher, heckling your own band.
I was trying to turn the light off when he did the stupid hello, but someone had the thing screwed all the way out.
Well, that's too bad, and everybody loves that, so you would have ruined it for everybody.
I can still hear you.
Sure, so let's go ahead and dive in here. Obviously, great week, a lot to talk about. Let's not waste any time. Get right on into it. Start with this week's 3 big moments. Again, the big moments, the ones that overlap. Not just one episode, but multiple episodes over the entire series. And let's start off here with the 3 big moments. Big moment number 1 is, of course, Kasaya 6 versus Row 2-4. And for those who don't know or aren't paying attention or whatever, the Kasaya 6 was the Alliance of 6 on Survivor Panama Season 12. Row 2-4 was the 4 members of the Row 2 tribe on Season 4 of Survivor, so on the Marquesan Islands. So Kasaya 6 was the 6 that stayed strong for the most part. 3 members of that group broke away and basically went to the end of the game, but that was the lines that ran the game. 3 of those members that broke away, 2 of them were in the final 2, Double D and Aris, and obviously one of them won the game. Row 2 was the Power Alliance that was just had the game by the throat. They're dominating, taking things to the, planning to run the game all the way to the end with John Carroll and the General and Zoe and Tammy, and they were planning to run the whole game. And then it turned out that the people on the bottom just didn't want to listen to them. They didn't want to, they didn't want to just be slaughtered. So they flipped, joined the other side, and the Road 2-4 got picked up one by one. So my question to you, Jessica, with that information I just laid out there. And by the way, what's your Twitter handle?
Jess T820.
That's it, yeah. I was going to say it, but I figured you knew better than me.
Maybe not.
Maybe
every
not.
Time. Not all the time.
Okay, so my question to you here,
Yes.
Jess T820, is what do you see this alliance, the Kama 6? Mm-hmm. Do you see them more as a Kasaya 6 going to the end of the game, and with one member of their tribe winning it, or do you see that the other group getting, annoyed, flipping on them and voting them out? What do you see the fate for the Kama 6?
I think they're making it to the end. I don't think that the other 4 have a chance to flip them, because if anything, David and Devins will join in with them versus going back to their old tribe, because they all wanted to get rid of both of them anyways.
I mean, I'm not sure. I really don't know where it's going to go, but I will say this. So often we complain about, right? So, why didn't they just flip? Mm-hmm. People were all... I listened to an interview today, actually, with Laurel from 36, and she's talking about how people were so on her case about, why don't you flip? Why don't you flip? Why don't you get rid of Dom and Wendell? Right? Mm-hmm. And people were saying that, but the fact is, if it was easy, they would have done it. Yeah. If it made sense, they would do it, right? Like, people say, why don't you just get rid of the person who's going to win the game? Why don't you vote them out? Well, why don't these 3 and these 3 vote out those 4?
Because it all sounds good in theory.
And those 3 don't like each other, and the other 3 don't like each other. So yeah, you want 3 people to work together who don't get along. Mm-hmm. Right now, David and Devins aren't fans of Wentworth and Lauren, who aren't fans of theirs, and War Dog, and they're all a big mess.
Right.
So why don't those 6 get together and just... Because if those 6 vote with the other 6. Now it's a 6-6 tie, and we're going to a rock draw. But we're not, because nobody's going to rocks for each other,
No.
and they don't like each other.
Right. It's much easier for Devins and David to join the 6 than to join the 4, because they know it's to their advantage to join the 6 than to join the 4, because they would just stab in the back anyways.
Absolutely, and right, and you're working with people you know but you don't trust. Against people you don't really know, maybe you can trust. You probably can't trust. But now you got, I mean, what's the opposition to the 6 is Aurora, who doesn't have any connections to anybody.
Right.
You've got Wentworth and Lauren, who both have vitals, but they're tight too. War Dog's probably with them,
Well, for sure.
and then you've got David and Devins, who are on their own. So for somebody to take out the 6, you need those 6 people who have nothing in common to work together.
Right.
So I'm with you. I think they're going to go far in the game now, talking it through. I'm still not sure. I mean, whatever. But I'm talking it through. And in your argument that you made, I agree. I think they're going to do that because, I mean, again, I don't think those 6 of them are going to steamroll and get. I don't think that's going to be the final 6.
No.
But
they're going to work together more than anybody else is going to work together.
it just makes sense.
Why wouldn't they?
They'll turn on each other eventually, and somebody will stab somebody else in the back. But
at some point.
that's up with the Kasai 6 too. I mean,
But it also depends on where the individual immunities lie.
Sure.
Whoever wins that's what really decides that everything
and
else.
idols and things of that nature too.
Yeah.
And so the Kasai 6, Suri and Aris and Double D flipped everybody else. Or and then they got to the end, but the Kasai 6 still were a strong alliance, but 6 people can't get the end, 6 people can't win. So I think that's what's going to be. I think we'll see, but I think that this Kama 6 is going to be much more like the Kasai 6 than the Roku 4. Moving on to the second big moment. What's the second big moment of the week?
Keith and Wendy split.
Keith and Wendy split. Yeah, that is just funny. We were talking earlier about Keith and Whitney splitting. That was maybe a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
For the great romantic duo of season 23 of Survivor, and they also won the Miz race and sucked there too. But hey, don't come at me, Keith Whitney stands, okay? There's, I just don't like them. But Keith and Wendy, somebody finally raised the mast. We saw 2 walking over there, and they showed 3 left.
Yeah,
one got back in the game.
Aubrey and Chris standing there. Yeah.
And so we knew the other 2 were gone. Obviously, by that point, Rick was already got back in the game, and so it was just those 3 left. And if you asked me who's gonna raise the mast first, I would probably said those 2.
Yeah, I would have said Keith. I figured Keith went on a long time ago.
I agree. I'm surprised he actually made it to the challenge. But losing the challenge, and the thing is right with Wendy almost won that. So I'm a little bit surprised that she dropped out. Again, maybe she has other reasons for dropping out.
Yeah, I mean she's got medical stuff and everything, so I can understand. You could see that coming out in that challenge. The stress of the whole thing just made everything go off for her.
For sure, and Keith was just so bad in the challenge, and he had no shot to win anyway. So the fact that he even, I'm not shocked that he left.
No, we were waiting for it. They weren't going to make it through. Monday could have came back though, but they just don't want to work for it anymore. They're done with it.
Yeah, and I understand. You knew it was going to happen eventually, and I was interested if they're going to keep going after the merge, and I was hoping that that the jury would, that the people on Edge of Extinction would get to watch Tribal Council, because a lot of them are going to be on the jury. And if they are, they're not going to see, if they're on Edge of Extinction the whole time, they're not going to see what happens.
Right.
So I was glad that they did that too. But finally something happened. Finally people going to Edge of Extinction and leaving. I wasn't sure if they were going to be, after the challenge, if they were going to be able to go back to Edge of Extinction or not.
Right. I was just thinking that as we're talking about it, that probably should have been one of our moments, but we're talking about it anyways, how all of the people that did not win are able to go back to Edge of Extinction and try again later.
And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad that they're on the jury, because it would be really unfortunate if the jury's just sitting there and then they show up final tribal and
didn't know what's going on.
Whatever. So, and I don't think they're all going to end up on the jury. Maybe they will. I don't know, but it makes sense if they have that big of a jury.
I don't know. Yeah, there's only 3 there right now, but
4 with Joe.
Yeah, 4 with Joe, but they also have the opportunity to leave whenever they want. So something's got to happen, because between this point and when they're getting the jury together and going to the end of the show, more of these people could decide to leave if they really want to.
Right.
So
I mean, it's good that they're on the jury, but the jury's not. I mean, if they all do stay or whatever, they're gonna have to eliminate someone. I can't imagine they have a jury of, of 16 left in the game, so final three, so a 13-person jury for a
No.
final three. That makes no sense.
no, something's gonna happen. I mean, but they have to keep them involved somehow with the show to know what's going on in case they are there
For
later.
sure. Agreed.
So
So that sounds good. What's the third moment? Big moment number 3.
should Devin go back?
So that was, of course, the vote, right? When they were
Yeah.
going to vote Devin out, they decided, well, let's make an easy vote. Let's send Devin right back there. And if you notice, it was Wentworth. It was, a little bit David, not David Wright. It was a little bit of Joe.
Just the obvious people saying to send him back.
Right. And then the argument against it was, let's just immoral. That's just mean. Guys, what show are you playing? I mean, for real. I mean, look at Boston Rob. Boston Rob, Matt Elrod's, Wyatt Nash. Now his name is Wyatt Nash. He struggled. He was the second person voted out. He won every single Redemption Island challenge on the first Redemption Island season. Finally got back in the game. Won his way back in. All this struggle just to get back in there, and he was part of the. It was a 6-on-5 alliance, and he was threatening to switch back over to make it 6-6. But at the end of the day, he decided to go with this, make it 7-5, and he went back with the side who voted him out, and had no hard feelings. Hey, let's bury the hatchet. We're good. Let's work together. And Boss Rob's like, awesome, thank you. Knife in the back. Immediately. As soon as he got back, they voted him back out because guess what? We're not gonna mess with you. You're a wild card. We don't know where your loyalties lie. Let's just get rid of you. And that's what the Boston Rob did. And then they had 6-5 majority the rest of the way. Instead of letting this guy jump back and forth, maybe he didn't like something, he'd flip over back over the other side. Devin doesn't have any loyalty. He doesn't.
To David. That's it.
To David, that's it, right? Yeah. So for them to keep him in the game, we gotta keep Devin because it's immoral to vote him out. It's Survivor. It's immoral to vote him out.
No, but to that point, the 6 figure that they can pull him in then. So why wouldn't you want to keep him around? Because they know they're not going to get Wentworth to go over to them. They're not going to get Lauren, and they're not going to get War Dog to go over to them.
Well,
and Aurora was with Joe, so they got rid of her alliance. So is she going to work with them, or is she going to go over to Wentworth and Lauren and War Dog? So they have a better shot of trying to pull David and Devins in.
well, I could see that too, but I could also see that they has to do a girls' alliance and get all the girls together. So I can see that happening with that too. I can see it being an option.
They're not gonna.
The
way that they all are, they're not going to.
I agree, but I don't think it's any more likely to pull in Devins or David over the other two, over Wentworth and Lauren. That being said, I think they're saying, oh, it's immoral to send Devins back there because they're trying to bring him in.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to bring him in.
Well, for sure, yeah. That's why Julie talked to him as soon as they got back to the camp and they were eating their food. She was saying that she wants to work with him.
Right, and it looks good to say, oh, he went through all this, we can't send him back. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think if it's like, well, me or him, they still vote him out, but they're trying to pull him in because they want to get him and David to turn on the rest of to basically pick off whoever they don't want.
That's it. Yeah.
So
that's what I was saying.
Right. So I agree with that. I don't think it was impossible to bring in Lauren and Wentworth. I do think that a good move would have been to, get rid of, like I said, if you keep Wentworth and Lauren happy, they think they're in the majority, then you vote them out next week so they don't play their idols. Mm-hmm. So they don't know that those people have idols. They don't know who has idols, but
right.
It's. I think it was a good move to make Devins feel like, hey man, it was so tough that you went through it. Congratulations, winning your way back in. Rocket turn on, vote you right back out. Mm-hmm. Because it's wrong.
Right.
I don't know if they actually feel like it's wrong or they're just trying to make a strategic move. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But I don't think if you're put it this way, if you're coming into it saying, look, we can't vote him out because it's wrong to vote him out because he just came back, then you're not playing the right game. Because you can't morality goes out the window on Survivor. Throw your morals out the window. Mm-hmm. Don't keep the guy because it's wrong. It's the wrong thing to do to vote him out. No. It's the wrong thing to do to vote out anybody. They all need the money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't if they were doing it to pull him in, they didn't say it, but you could kind of tell, because why would she have said it right from the beginning that she wants to work with him? Everybody knows they're dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
They can see they're dynamic. They can see that they didn't work well together and as a team for
You've been saying it.
challenges.
You've been saying it since day one.
I have. And I think, I guess it's not impossible for Kelly and Lauren to get pulled over. I think it's less likely. I think they have a better chance of keeping Devins around and David to gain their trust more. They're just going to pick him off. I mean, from the beginning, it's been getting rid of the returning players, so that's what has been happening. That's what's going to continue to happen, I think.
I think so too. I think you're right. I think too, that the reason I said if they did say all those things about getting rid of Devins being immoral, if they said all that for a strategic purpose, great. If they're doing it because they're getting emotional, then that's wrong and that's stupid.
Yeah.
So hopefully that they're doing it for a strategic purpose and there's thought behind it rather than just emotion.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to the 3 key moments of this particular episode. What is moment number 1?
Devins gets back in.
Devins got back in, obviously.
Yeah.
Great challenge. It was awesome. I liked that a lot.
It was close. I mean, even I've been saying, I told you last week, even with Chris getting that not challenge. What am I trying to say? The disadvantage. Mm-hmm. I knew that wasn't going to slow him down that much. I mean, untying knots, whatever, it didn't take him that long, and he still almost won it. But I would have been happy with Devins, Aubrey, or Chris. So
yeah, I was getting a little nervous there when Wendy almost won it.
And she was so close.
I was getting nervous.
Yeah, but the end is always the equalizer, the puzzle, or whatever. The end part of the channel is it's always the hardest, and it's always doesn't matter who's leading. Once you get to that point, that's where it counts.
And I was wondering how they're going to do it. I know the Redemption Island, they did different types of challenges. A lot of times it was endurance, a lot of times it was puzzles, stuff like that. So, it was fair for anybody. I mean, Rick isn't a physical specimen by any means, but, he did a good job. He's got pretty good balance and, and did a good job. And it was came down to, Aubrey wasn't too far off it either.
No. I mean, it was a mixture of everything. It was part physical, part tactical, and everything else.
Yeah, with
endurance.
Getting the key, right? Using the sticks to get the key with Keith had no clue what he was doing.
Yeah, balance, it was a little bit of everything. Right. So it didn't target any one person.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a really good challenge. I would like to see, maybe the next time they do it, I know you're not going to know this reference, the Julia Sokolowski domino challenge. Mm-hmm. When they did, I think it was Ko-Rong. It was in the final 7 or whatever it was with Debbie and Michelle and Jason and all those people, and Aubrey was there, and they had to set up dominoes, and then they had to knock them down, so they would knock each other down and then hit a gong. And he had to step in one end, then he had to step in one end, and he had to walk, individually stack them, and he had to step over tripwires every time. You step on the tripwires and knock your thing over. That was such a cool.
That's cool.
I like the challenge. It's not. I mean, it's an exciting challenge because somebody's really close. Sydney was really close. Michelle was really close. Debbie was really close. Julia ended up winning it, but it was one of those things where you get really close. One way you hit it and they all fall, and then the last one doesn't fall, or you're really close to hitting it and you step on the tripwire and they all fall and you have to start over. So I like that. I would like to see maybe that as like a chance to get back in type thing. Yeah. But this challenge was good. I definitely do like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as the challenge, you think it was like you said you felt like it was a good challenge, or?
Yeah, I think it like I said, it didn't target one person. Everybody had an equal opportunity to get through it. Even, Keith, who wasn't strong, especially, I mean, it wasn't swimming involved, so it didn't really target him or anything.
Sure.
But, yeah, I mean, the puzzle was the hardest part at the end. Not the puzzle, but
the maze.
The maze, yeah.
Sure, and that's always a great equalizer for sure. Mm-hmm. So I think it was cool. Rick won his way, and congratulations to him, back in the game, and he got a little advantage. What was his advantage for getting back in?
The idol.
Yeah, the half idol, right?
Half idol, yeah. So, he made it through this one, so now he's got a full idol for next time.
So yeah, he gets the half idol. Mm-hmm. He gets the idol, has to get half to somebody else, and he gets to keep the half himself. They both make it through this tribal. They get to put it back together and get a full regular idol. That's good for the next tribal, the tribal after.
Right.
Cool. What is the next moment there?
This one is Joe loses his first immunity, and that really bit him in the ass.
It certainly did.
And he lost to Julie.
Mm-hmm. Well, he hadn't lost an immunity challenge yet, right? He was undefeated in immunity challenge. This was his first tribal council.
Right.
In
First individual immunity.
In his first individual immunity, Joe's never lost the first individual immunity challenge.
Mm-hmm.
He's also never lost an immunity challenge to a female.
Well, there's a first time for everything. Sorry, Joe.
And he's lost one. Now in his Survivor career, here's a crazy stat for you. He's lost one immunity challenge that he didn't get voted out. I believe that's correct. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I believe because the first time he won all the challenges, then he lost and got voted out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time he won every challenge, he lost one. They voted out Fishback, and then they voted him next. Shout out to the know-it-all, Stephen and Rob. Stephen played with both Wentworth and Joe, so it was quite the episode for him to break down. I'm excited to watch it later. But cool. So I don't know. Joe loses the finally lost the immunity challenge, right? And
yeah, but I mean, when I was sitting there, I kept saying the elements are probably going to be a factor. I knew he wasn't going to make it through. I just had a feeling, and I said earlier too. You know, if he could throw it to make himself look as less as a threat, but either way, it didn't matter. You know, he lost not on purpose, and they still got rid of him because they want to get rid of all the existing players or the old returning players.
Yeah, and he's a threat. You know, he's a threat. He loses. You know, and Ron made the point. He loses. Get rid of him now. Mm-hmm. Why wait around for him to win an immunity?
Right.
You know, a bunch of immunities. Find an idol. All
I mean,
things.
they're lucky he didn't have an idol either, and he didn't go looking for an idol. He just sat at camp, which that was your first mistake, Joe. I guess you should have really went out and looked for an idol or something.
Yeah.
You put a lot of faith in people that you knew got rid of Aubrey and blindsided her, and
Right.
They did the same thing to you.
Absolutely.
Kind of can't trust it.
Absolutely, it doesn't make any sense. And Joe, I mean, you know, he didn't impress me, you know, this season really at all. It never really has. I'm not the biggest Joe fan, and come at me, internet. But I mean, it just
The pirate.
Yeah, he didn't do much, and he got voted out. He's gonna he's got a good chance of winning his way back in. He's definitely, you know, he's good at challenges.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a chance for him. But I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know what he was doing. He lost the challenge here, and the win was probably a factor, sure. But if Joe wanted to not be a threat, he should have gone out and been the first one out with this challenge.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wasn't going to throw it, though.
No, he's
and
not.
everybody knew from the beginning he was a big factor with his tribes, that they would keep winning and everything. I don't think he was the number one, because now we're seeing, like, Julie did awesome, and what she's been with him every tribe. So
yeah.
he wasn't the only threat, but
No.
there's things he could have done to make him not stand out as much.
It's interesting though, and too. If you think like the first immunity of the individual immunity is won by a female almost every time now. It's really interesting to find that out too. Like and I said they were saying how Julie's guns. I didn't see them before this episode, but she's ripped, and you know she's definitely right. Gives me a bit of a Chrissy Hoffback vibe. Maybe with a better social game, which is good. But yeah, I was surprised to see Joe go out here. I was surprised to see him lose. He doesn't ever lose immunities. He did this week, and when the big guy's not safe, you gotta take him out. That was the right move for sure. Mm-hmm. And finally, key moment number 3. What do we got for that?
The 6-3-2-2 vote split.
Oh, of course, the famous that happens every time. The 6-3-2-2 vote split. Obviously, whenever you can do a 6-3-2-2 vote split, you always do a 6-3-2-2 vote split, right?
Anyways.
Oh my gosh. It was crazy. That vote was crazy.
Yeah,
I was shocked. What happened?
I guess. I don't know. Like, when we were talking about it, though, you could easily pick out who voted for who. But, I don't know. I couldn't decide if they were going to really get rid of Joe, or if they were going to get rid of Kelly, or David, whoever they were going to get rid of, yeah.
It was, 4 people got votes. Everybody got at least 2. Mm-hmm. All 4 got at least 2. And
yes, being the 6-3-2-2 vote split.
Yes. But I'm saying, I think it was I'm glad they showed it at the end who voted for whom, but again, we figured it out before that.
Yeah, but it shows where everybody lies. Mm-hmm. It shows where the alliances are, who's working with each other, so now they have to figure out amongst themselves who they can pull in to work with who.
Absolutely. The 6 voted together, right, of Eric and Julie, Julia, Gavin, Victoria, and Ron, right? And then it was the three of
Lauren,
Wentworth, and War Dog.
Yeah.
And then it was the pair of Aurora and Joe, and the pair of Devins and David.
Yes.
So the pairs plus the three, and then of course the six. So it was a very they all thought they were voting the right way. They all thought they were splitting the votes, and it was I just thought it was genius. I mean, I don't know who gets credit for the Ron Rose Julie, whether it was somebody else. I don't know, but I think it was just genius. The six were only six, and a tribe of 13. That shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have. This six. I mean, to do the Brad Collier math, 6 into 7 is out. 6 into 13, 7 out. Right, but it doesn't. It's not how it worked. When you have dysfunction, a small number can beat a big number when you have dysfunction.
Right.
And those 7 aren't going to work together, no matter what happens. You could say you work together for one vote, I'll give you $1 million. Not going to do it.
No, they're not. Because you can't force people to work together that don't work well together. And from the beginning,
you were saying it.
They can't. They won't. They can't.
And
they can't do it.
And Joe and Aurora were off on their own, and so even and then it just even if you let the other 5 work together, the 5 original whatever Les New or whatever they were,
right,
they weren't gonna work together.
But even that discussion, like Joe and Kelly were sitting there talking, you would have thought that Joe and Aurora would go over to Kelly, Lauren, and War Dog, and then maybe they could have convinced David and Devins to work with them to vote off someone from the other tribe, but they didn't even try and do that. That wasn't even a discussion.
Too busy going after each other.
Could have been the smarter move. Instead of saying Devins is the easy vote, you sweet talk him into getting him to work with them. They're the swing votes. They're going to be the swing votes of this entire season.
Yes, and I agree. And Joe and Wentworth worked together previously on 31. They put together, and you're right. It was a smarter move to bring Devins in. Sometimes at tribal council, sometimes at the merge, the easy vote is the right vote at the merge. Sometimes it was in this case. Why? Because if Devins is easy vote this week, guess what? He's also easy vote next week and the week after the week after. So when you have an easy vote, you could just kick the can down the road and see what happens, or you can make a move that's going to impact the rest of the game. And I think that's what they should have done. But again, you can't, like you said, you can't force people to work together who aren't going to work together.
No, they're not going to. It's like they're choosing. They have the choice, and they're not going to. It's different if you're like working and you have to work with people. You don't. You have to. You don't have a choice. They're going to choose their alliances, and they're not really making some smart moves.
I agree completely. I completely agree. So on that note, let's go ahead and talk about who's doing well, who's not doing well. We'll shift into the bottom 3 of this week. This was a little bit harder. The top 3 I think was pretty easy for us.
Yeah.
But the bottom 3 was a little bit more difficult. But who do we have in the first spot of the bottom 3?
Aurora.
Aurora. And why Aurora?
Well, she's lost her alliance, Joe, so she's kind of floating. Now they got to see who's gonna like drag her in and bring her in, sweet talk her to come into who she, what alliance is she gonna fall into? Most likely she's gonna go with Wentworth and Lauren. I feel like because she doesn't have the strong ties to her old tribe.
She was on the outside of that tribe from day one. It was her, Aubrey, and Joe.
Because, she was working with Joe and Aubrey, and nobody wants the returning players to go far. I don't think they will, but we'll see. I don't know.
All the days are numbered for sure. I agree. I think Aurora, though, the reason I would have her in the bottom 3 as well is because, like I said, her alliance is gone, but also, like I said, I don't. I mean, you were saying, well, where will she go? Who will scoop her up? I don't know if anybody even cares to scoop her up. I mean, she.
Yeah, you scoop her up for the numbers, but they don't see her as a threat. So that's what you want to do. You want someone that's not a threat to keep around. So when it comes time for the jury to vote, she didn't do anything, but I did. But I got her to come work with me. So. Yeah,
and I agree. I think too, she's just kind of floating along. She's just kind of getting through. She's getting a very purple edit. She doesn't say much.
To be fair, this is like the first time we've seen most of the people on this show because we haven't gone to tribal.
Oh, it's true. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a merge with like 5 people going to their first tribal council.
Yeah,
it was pretty nuts. It's been a while since that happened, but yeah, I agree. And nuts, yes. And Aurora voting with avoiding with Joe and Aubrey or working with Joe and Aubrey earlier in the season is definitely costing her now. And yes, I think she's become the really easy vote. Even
Yeah.
more so than Devon's. Like,
Right.
you want to get rid of her whenever. Who cares? Nobody's
Right.
gonna care. She,
Well, especially now. Joe cared more back then,
Right.
so
No, for sure.
But now it doesn't matter.
now she's got literally nobody. So you vote her out, nobody's gonna break a sweat.
Right.
And it was crazy because I thought she'd be a player in the game. I really did because
I was gonna say the same thing. I kind of expected a lot more out of her, and you haven't heard anything like at all. You really barely even heard her talk.
I mean this episode was very light on Eric, Julia, and her, but they've been light on her since day one. And
Yeah.
I mean like I think she may have gotten one of, if not the first confessional of the season. Talking about Joe and and how charming he is.
Right.
So obviously that was a sign that she was working with him. But I mean, she's drawing dead in this game. I mean,
Yeah.
she's not winning because she's not getting any confessionals, and she's just. I mean, I wanted to see more from her. I thought she seems she's smart. She's an attorney. She's got plenty going for her. But she's not even on the show. So
Yeah.
she could be gone any day now. It wouldn't surprise me. So
Right.
she's not necessarily. I don't think she's the next to go because it doesn't make sense to get rid of her next. Why? I mean, you can get rid of her whenever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do think she's kind of drawing dead, so that's why she's in the bottom three for me.
Yeah.
Who's the second one in the bottom three there?
Wentworth.
Wentworth, and she's got
Obvious reasons.
she built a house on the bottom three. Okay, like she is living there. She is never moving out. I don't think unless she wins the game. She's like she's bought real estate in bottom three. Okay, like she's
her
done
time's numbered. Her time's probably numbered.
her time's been numbered since day one, since episode one.
Yeah.
That being said,
But they're keeping her there. So that's the whole thing. They have been keeping her there. She's not completely in control of her own fate because she's still trying to scrape to get people to vote in the way that they want. I mean, they had the 4, but she could have easily been kicked out tonight.
Oh, certainly. And we've said that every episode, I think. She could have been easily going home.
Yeah.
That being said, she's still in the game.
Yeah.
She does still have an idol. But she's definitely not in a good spot.
No.
No, not by any means. Anything else to say about Wentworth, or I think we've said everything we've said about her for the last 7 episodes?
I think we just can just say her name going forward and just say,
Still.
yeah, that's it.
No, Wentworth,
Just,
bottom three.
just don't even have to expand on it anymore.
She's been in the bottom three, I think, since episode 1.
Yeah.
Maybe she was in the top 3 once, but she's...
Yeah, because she found an idol. That was the only thing.
Right, and she still doesn't know. She's still in the game, and the thing is now she knows that they're gunning for her-ish, and
She's always known they're gunning for her, though.
right. But now she's going to be on a higher guard to play right. If they would have voted her out tonight, she probably would have played right.
Right.
So she got blindsided. My point is, she got blindsided tonight by the vote, but it wasn't for her, so she's still in the game.
Yeah.
So now if she has any suspicion at all, she can play right. I'm interested to see next week if they pull in Aurora, David, and Devons and split the votes between Lauren and Wentworth. What happens if they both play right? So that'd be very interesting.
True.
So we'll see. But
yeah.
right now, again, Wentworth, if she plays Royals next week, she's again surviving one more week, but only just surviving, not thriving, not winning, not playing the game, not winning.
Right. True. Yep.
So moving on to the last one of the bottom 3, who do you got?
Mr. David.
David Wright. Why is David Wright in the bottom 3?
I mean, he's also been in our bottom 3 a couple times, too.
It's a tough spot. In the bottom of the numbers.
It's like he's just in the bottom 3, though, I feel. Because now he's got his number 1 alliance back.
That was huge.
So that's going to squeak him up a little bit more.
Agreed.
But he's a returning player. So between him and Kelly, who's going next? Because Joe's gone, Aubrey's gone. So who is it going to be? Because it's going to be one of them at some point. Not next week, the week after.
Right, and I feel like it's soon for the the returning players to go out. I mean it's who knows, returning player could still win the season, but it's gonna be really tough.
They have the chance to come back from Extinction Island, so I kind of have a feeling that they're maybe all gonna go by the end, and then maybe one can come back.
Possibly.
Who knows?
Certainly possible.
But it's gonna be tough.
It is, and I just think that David is another one who's. It was huge for Devins to come back. That was if you could have said pick one person to come back to help David Wright, it was Devins,
right,
for sure. So that's huge, but they're still not in the numbers. The only way they get back in the numbers is if the 6 break apart, or if they work with if the outcasts all come together, and that's not going to happen. So that's to get the six to break apart.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think David's in the same boat as Wentworth, where they're kind of both not in control of their own
No,
fate.
for sure.
Like David maybe is a little bit more in control of it, but he's still just there because they're keeping him there. But Devins is the only one that has a strong bond with a returning player. He's the only one that isn't saying like, well, we can't let these returning people go forward. It's him and David.
And
But I
Lauren
don't
and
put-
Kelly too. But yes,
Well, that's true. You're right, Lauren and Kelly. But Lauren has said before, though, about not wanting to keep returning players long either. That's why she had her idol and she hid it from everybody for a
For
very
sure.
long time. But
and
I don't
people
put
in,
it.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you were doing good. I'm sorry. Continue.
I don't put it past Devins to stab David in the back at some point.
I mean, kill or be killed. And the people in power don't want returning players. And that's what matters.
Yeah.
I mean, Wentworth could, Lauren could love Wentworth and Devins could love David, but unless they have power, it doesn't mean anything. So, for sure. Moving on now, finally, to the top three.
Gonna let me talk.
Go ahead. Who's in the top three?
Devins. For obvious reasons that he won his way back from Extinction Island and is now, I think he's got a good shot to make it towards the end. You may speak.
Thank you.
Just don't speak over me. Speak.
Okay.
Good boy.
Thank you. Woof. Devon's in the top three. I don't think. Again, I mean, if any of the Lazoo people left, the five of them, who whatever, if any of them are gonna make it deep and win the game, I think it's gonna be. I think he's the best shot.
Yeah.
And he's the only one with a shot, I would say.
Well, because he's kind of just on the outskirts of it. I don't even consider him a part of that group anymore. Because, I mean, really, they stabbed him in the back and got rid of him during the whole Lazoo era. But I'm glad he made it back in.
I am too. He's got a shot. He's got this idol now. As long as David doesn't, take it from him and not give it back, I guess. But which
They'll share it.
could happen.
Yeah, I think they'll share it.
I do too. I think he's got a good shot to get back in the game. I think he's the bottom of the. He's not the bottom player of the five, but he's the top of the bottom. If that makes sense.
Yeah, he is.
For sure. So he's still on the bottom. He's not only he's not in the majority. He's not doing anything.
So he's the middle. He's not in the six and he's not in the bottom. He's right in the middle in between. He could either go towards the top where the six are, or he can fall back down to the bottom.
And he's like, I think it's him and Aurora are in the middle, and then it's the 6 and the 4,
Yeah.
basically. And
Right.
and David's kind of right there with him too. But I just think the only reason I have Devins here is because he didn't lose. He's still in the game, and now he's got an idol.
He's back in. Yeah.
But I think that's the only thing I can say is that he's.
Right.
That's the only reason he's there for me is just because he's not. He's not in a great position in the game, but at least he's back in the game.
Yeah. But he's also really good at talking to people, so I think that's going to help him. But
Certainly, I agree. He's not in the position yet of power, but as the great Shireen Osuki once said, "I'm not in the driver's seat, but I'm in the passenger seat, actually driving." I think that's kind of where he is right now. I think he's kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think he's not driving the ship. He's not in control, but he is not out of it. He's definitely whispering in their ears, "Hey, turn left." They're still driving, but he's kind of navigating a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's not. I don't think he's winning all these in a great spot, but he could find himself in a better spot as the weeks progress.
True.
Who's number 2?
We just bring attention though on how War Dog wasn't like the main focus of this
I was
episode for the
hoping you'd
first
say
time.
that. And we were talking about that earlier. I was like, bring that up. We were talking off air. I'm like,
I mean, I haven't had a good segue because we haven't brought up War Dog once, and it's been really nice to not hear about War Dog. War Dog does what War Dog wants. War Dog's good for him. Well, he didn't say that once this episode. They didn't show
talk.
the cut. Yeah, it was really nice. I enjoyed that.
Peaceful night without War Dog. Oh,
Yeah, it
no.
was so nice.
Alright.
And shockingly enough, he didn't make it far in the immunity. So
Well, because he's got fake muscles.
fake muscles.
He's got muscles that are just for
Oh,
show.
it was the wind.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. It was just the fact that these muscles are just for show and they don't actually do anything.
Again, thank you for your service, but come on.
Come on, bro.
Okay. Number two.
Top player number 2.
Mr. Ron Clark.
Ronald Clark Weasley.
Clark Griswold.
Ronald Clark Griswold Weasley.
Wow. Ronald Clark Weasley. What the heck?
Ronald Clark Griswold Weasley, obviously.
No.
Okay. Why is Ron the top of all 3? Because what he did with Joe, obviously.
Well, yeah. He's kind of the hidden godfather. He's not the self-proclaimed godfather, but everybody kind of knows he's starting to try and control things. I mean, when they were talking about who to vote out, he was very strongly voting his opinion on everybody, or voicing his opinion on who they should vote out. And I mean, they went with what he said.
And that was why I put him there for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
he played Joe like a fiddle all season.
He did.
And, right, and he's like, Joe, who do I vote for? And Joe's like, I don't know, man, whatever, And
Yeah.
Joe and Ron's like, well, we already know it's gonna be you, but just tell me who you want to be.
Yeah.
And Ron, I mean, I don't know, I can't tell if Ron's playing a great game or not. I can't really tell. He reminds me of Mike White a lot from last season.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell. Is he playing a great game or is he just kind of just there? It's really hard to say.
Yeah. Mike also always got scared at every little thing, though, and would constantly flip alliances all the time.
Yeah.
So Ron's definitely strong in his alliance. He's strong in what he wants. It works for everybody right now, though,
It does.
until he decides to start picking off his own people.
And we'll see. Like I said, it's hard to say. Like that. For me, I feel like is he controlling things? Is he the one who's actually making things happen, or is he just putting his foot down and people are saying let's just appease him?
I think it's more so that. I really don't think he's that much in control of it, but I have a feeling they're just agreeing with him so that they're not on the chopping block. I mean, easily Eric or Julia could have been like, well, no, we're going to do this. And then as soon as he hears that, he's like, all right, well, I'm not going to work with you guys anymore. I'm going to go to somebody else. So might as well work with him because he's one of the number one people that says that they don't want anybody that are a returning player to get fired.
Yeah.
So he is most likely going to keep targeting all the returning players because why not?
Yeah,
That's
and,
basically it.
and I feel like Julia is his number one ally. I feel like, anyways, but
Julia.
Yeah, for sure. Because when she went through his bag and he distracted Joe,
Yeah.
that was Julia.
They really haven't worked that much together since then. It's all kind of been a group thing.
Yeah, and they haven't really showed a ton of dynamic there either. Who's really with whom? But the reason I have him here, my number 2 spot is just because they were pitching one person, they're pitching the other person, pitching. There were 3 people pitching stuff, and they went with Ron's idea.
Yeah.
So whether Ron had the social capital to make that happen, or they're just trying to appease him, like you said, could be either one.
Right.
But for today, Ron got his way.
Yeah. Kind of, I don't know, like how you just brought up, out of those 6, I can strongly see who's working together out of the 6. Like 3 and 3. I feel like it's definitely Gavin, right? Gavin?
Mm-hmm.
Gavin, Eric, and Victoria are a 3, and then Julia, and Ron, I guess I could see being the other 3. So when worst comes to worst, I think that's where things are going to split up a little bit. I could see Julia going to Eric and Victoria also. But, yeah, I mean, Julie and Ron are very strong on that. And out of that 6, they're really strong personalities.
I agree. And, I mean, I don't think it's going to be big going. I think there's too much going on to just have one person get picked off from that side.
Yeah.
But, worst case scenario, if it's down to the final 6, and it's those 6, there's still some drama there, because seeing where all the pieces fall, I can see it being a 3-3 at that point. But that's way down the line.
Right.
But it's interesting to see. I could definitely would be interested to see how it all shakes out when we get down to the 6, or before then, likely before then.
Right.
Finally, who's our top performer of the week?
Julie.
Julie, yes, indeed. We got Julie here. Why Julie?
Well, she won the first individual immunity challenge.
That
She
helps.
beat Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, she's making moves. She's talking to people. She's branching out to other people. She was the first one out of any other outside alliance to approach Devins after he got back. They showed that right away. So she's not just sitting in the sidelines waiting for something to happen. She's talking to people and making decisions and, being a strong competitor.
It was interesting. I feel like Victoria and Julia and Eric didn't have a ton of airtime this week. Obviously, Aurora never does. But I feel like Julie. It was interesting for me because, like I said, last week we had Victoria as the player of the week, and she had a good week last week.
Yeah.
But I feel like this week Julie took control of the merge tribe,
Yeah.
which is you have to merge. The merge tribe is what decides it. I feel like Julie has made herself a player.
Yeah.
And I see her as, like I said, a better social game for Chrissy Hoffbeck. I feel like she's got as good of a chance to win this thing as just about anybody else and better than most. So that's why I have her there for sure as the top performer. And obviously winning immunity helps, but I think it's more of like she's getting the credentials now.
She's showing up. They're showing her and what she's actually doing, and she's being a big part of the show now.
I feel like if it comes down to who's getting the credit, Ron or her, I think the important thing to look at is the edit and who's getting the more confessionals, who's talking about it more, who's shown talking to other people more. Because if was it Ron who made it happen, or was it Julie who made it happen? I'm leaning a little bit more towards Julie just because we saw more of that.
Well, yeah, she kind of made him, not made him, but what am I trying to say? He voiced his opinion, and she's just like, well, that's fine, but I would rather do this. And then she just, I guess amongst them decided to just go with what Ron says instead of making it a bigger thing. But they all had to vote for the same person. They made that, clear to be agreed beforehand.
And the 6 of them worked together well, and I think that the bottom line is they decided the 6 we're gonna do, and I think really I do think Julie was, like you said, just appeasing Ron, give Ron what he wants for now, keep him happy, keep the 6 together,
stay under the radar,
and then go from there. Right? Let Ron be the one who's out in front,
in control. Yep.
I actually think it's actually Julie pulling the strings. Who knows? We'll see, but I think that's where we are right now. I think that's a good spot to leave off for this week. So let's go ahead and wrap up here. As always, feel free to comment and share this post. Comment right below, subscribe, email paperproductions@gmail.com, tweet me at YoGrabAGabba, facebook.com/paperproductions. Jessica's Twitter is
JessT820.
Right, next week I think we're going to have a guest. We'll wait on that to see for sure. We're trying to have a guest next week. Just a comment, share your thoughts, and be sure to check back next week. Tell your friends. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
I know one thing, I've got nothing else for you.
No? Okay.
Because the tribe has spoken. See you next week.